All right, let's get started. Thank you so much for joining us for our virtual visit of UC Berkeley on this beautiful Tuesday morning. Before we start, we're going to go through a little bit of housekeeping about the tour that you're about to see. So this virtual visit is going to encompass a 45-minute presentation led by two incredible student guides. While we are giving the tour, you are so welcome to type any questions that you may have in the Q&A function at the bottom of your screen. And that is going to enable ambassadors on the back end here to answer your questions. And it's also going to enable us to pick some great questions to answer live at the end of the tour. We are also going to have polls launching throughout the tour, so keep an eye out for those and make sure to answer them. It helps to know where you're from and what you're interested in. And this tour is going to be recorded, but a different version of the virtual tour is available on our website, and you can also check out our YouTube channel for past virtual visits. So this tour is a campus overview from the student perspective, which means that the students are going to be expressing what they love about Berkeley, and they're going to be sharing some information about the student life here. That also means that we're going to have no admissions or financial aid information. We may address it briefly, but we do not give out, specific recommendations about financial aid, and you are welcome to attend a separate admissions presentation via the Office of Admissions if you are interested in that information. And like I said, at the end of this tour, we're going to have a question and answer segment, and we're going to do our very best to answer all of your questions, whether typed or live. Make sure you get those questions in so that our ambassadors can make sure to give you a great answer. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our guides to introduce themselves.
Hi, I'm Kalysta. I use the she, her, hers pronouns, and I'm from Riverside, California. I am a sophomore majoring in legal studies, and a little bit about my involvement on campus. I am a member of Greek Life. I write for the Bear Talk blog, and I also was in the fall program for freshmen my freshman year, which is a program that lets first semester freshmen have smaller class sizes in their transition to college.
Hello everyone, my name's Abby. I go by the pronouns she, her, hers. My hometown is Tustin, California, so a little bit south of Kalysta. I am a sophomore, and my majors are Psychology and Letters in Science and Nutritional Sciences in the Rouser College of Natural Resources. On campus, in addition to Campus Ambassador, I'm involved in Berkeley Hillel, which is a Jewish student organization on campus, as well as Greek Life. And for a time, I was in a consulting club. So if you have any questions about business or anything else, feel free to put it in the chat, or we'll answer it live next.
So welcome to UC Berkeley. You should see a poll popping up asking a little bit about you, if you can fill that out. A little bit about the pictures you're looking at right now. In the middle, you can see our campanile, which is our clock and bell tower, very famous as it's the third tallest clock and bell tower in the world, which is really awesome. Something else really great is that in 2018, we celebrated 150 years of light, which was 150 years since the founding of UC Berkeley, and only 2 years later, in this year, 2020, we are celebrating 150 years of women at Berkeley. So only 2 years after the creation of the school, women were allowed to study here, which is really amazing because that was even before women had the right to vote, which is crazy and something we're super proud of. And then now into our agenda. Some of the key topics we're going to be going over in this virtual visit is an overview of UC Berkeley, academics, housing and dining, health and safety, student resources, student life, athletics, libraries and research, and a little bit about our remote learning that's currently going on.
Okay, so to get started on a Berkeley overview, let's talk a little bit about history. UC Berkeley was founded in 1868 and goes by UC Berkeley, Cal, or University of California, which is really cool. We are the first UC campus in the system, so that's why we get to go by Cal or University of California. We have all the cool swag that says California on it. But in addition, our mascot is the Golden Bears, but specifically Oski is the guy you'll see around campus. Sporting all his Cal gear in the big suit. He's a golden bear, and you'll see him in a couple of slides. But on the slides, you can see to the left, that's South Hall, which is the first building that was made on campus that houses the School of Information now. You can also see a really cool GIF of the Campanile, and you can see the Campanile behind me and Kalysta now, as well as Sproul Plaza and Sather Gate, which is kind of the central hub of campus, where a lot of things take place and a lot of people go from class to class. In terms of our campus size, we have around 30,000 undergraduate students and around 10,000 graduate students. So that means that we are a very cohesive school. You'll hear a little bit more about our graduate schools later, but it's really cool that we get to work together with a lot of graduate students and have them instruct us as well in a lot of our bigger classes. And then in terms of historical landmarks, you can see there a lot of things were here when my grandma was here at this school, and the free speech movement and everything like that, which we'll get into in a bit.
So a little bit more of an overview of campus. In the left, you'll see Sather Gate, which is an iconic landmark on campus. You'll see people taking pictures in front of it, and it's even featured in some movies like Ant-Man and the Wasp, and Monsters University actually modeled their gate in that movie off of Sather Gate, since Pixar Studios is so close. Next to that, you'll see a bear statue that is Sturdy the bear. This is our largest bear statue on campus, and we have several bear statues scattered all throughout campus, but this one is the largest. And if we were in person right now, we'd probably be walking past it because it's right outside California Memorial Stadium. On the upper right, you'll see our university seal, which was designed by Tiffany & Company, the jewelry company with the little turquoise packaging, which is really cool. It's meant to symbolize or be in memorial of the students and faculty who fought in World War II. Something a little bit funny about this seal is that there's a little bit of a superstition that if you step on the seal, you're going to have bad luck. Depending on who you ask, that might mean you'll fail a midterm or won't get a 4.0, but it is really funny to see students walking from class to class and completely part around the seal. It's something we actually take pretty seriously, which is super fun. Right below that, you'll see Oski, which is our official mascot. You heard Abby talk a little bit about him in the last slide. He's a little bit silly looking. We love him. He's always out and about on campus, and at every spirit event, you'll see Oski. He loves to give students hugs and take pictures and stuff like that. So he's great, a great member of our Berkeley community.
Okay, with that, we're going to go on to a little bit of campus culture. As I mentioned before, the free speech movement did happen on our campus in 1964. So we're really proud of our history as change makers on this campus, whether that be in political free speech movement, but also in research and leadership, and just challenging the status quo in general. Our campus strives to have entrepreneurship, research, and innovation. So everyone here, whether they're studying political science or chemical engineering, is wanting to be a change maker in their field and make the world a better place. And that's really symbolized in our community with compassion, passion, and social justice, spirit, and pride. You can see on the bottom right, that's the rally committee that causes a lot of the spirit on campus and helps to foster a really great environment of Cal pride. And then in the top right, you can see the free speech movement, as I talked about, right in Sather Gate. And to the left, you see people on Sproul. A lot of times they'll be out flyering and just kind of supporting the things that they are passionate about, which is really, really cool. So yeah, our campus is very big on public service, diversity, and excellence. And we just strive to make the world a better place in any way we can.
Some more pictures from campus. In the upper left, you'll see a protest taking place right outside of Sproul Hall, which is really historic place for students to be sharing their voice and for political change. Martin Luther King actually gave a speech outside of Sproul Hall, which is really amazing, and it's remained a place where people will use it to share their voice. But as well as that, right underneath, you'll see the spirit committee and the marching band and cheerleaders outside of the same hall before a game day, getting the students excited and lifting the spirits of the students right before we get excited for a game, which is really awesome. In the middle, you can see some research taking place in our STEM fields, which is something that we have a lot of research going on campus as we're a top research university. In the upper right, you'll see our rally committee who, like Abby said, is in charge of doing all spirit activities on campus, getting the students pumped and ready for games and such, which is super awesome. And right below that, you'll see the campanile, 2 dancers hanging off the side of the campanile, which was for a celebration for the campanile's anniversary. So that's really amazing that we had that incredible performance outside of the campanile. So yeah, those are some more pictures of Berkeley.
So just to address what's happening now with our global impact, in terms of education, we're really focusing on access and scalability, student tech programs, and remote youth programs. So this means that a lot of people who might not have access to certain Wi-Fi or different computer access while we're virtually learning currently, we have a really, really accessible program for those students. I know for me, I'm living in a house with a lot of other people, the Wi-Fi is a little spotty, and I actually just submitted a request for a hotspot and no big deal, and they're gonna send it to me. So these kind of things we're really trying to implement in this weird transition to a virtual age / learning experience. And then in terms of COVID research, we're really at the forefront of trial testing, biological, cultural, and economic impact. You can see on the top or the bottom right, the Innovative Genomics Institute trial. I think they switched everything to focusing on COVID related things, which is amazing. And the testing here has been incredible. The Tang Center, which we'll talk about a little bit later, is the University Health Center and has adapted to becoming a COVID testing center in a really amazing way. And in terms of advocacy and social justice, we're really on the forefront of human rights, anti-racism. We're really trying to prevent trauma, resilience, and burnout. There's a lot of psychological help that's being offered in this time. And we're really working to further our own university as the world is moving forward with it.
And with that, we'll go into talking about some of the undergraduate colleges. You should have seen a poll pop up asking what you're interested in studying. So if you could fill that out, that'd be awesome. Our undergraduate colleges include the College of Letters and Sciences, Rouser College of Natural Resources, the College of Environmental Design, College of Chemistry, and the College of Engineering. So a little bit about transferring between college versus applying directly. It can be a fairly easy process to transfer into the College of Letters and Sciences, Rouser College of Natural Resources, and even College of Environmental Design, but it is a little bit more tricky to try to transfer into the College of Chemistry or Engineering because they're such selective programs and because they start with their major courses in their very first semester. So it is definitely recommended to apply directly into the College of Chemistry or Engineering if that's what you're interested in.
So a little bit more about the College of Letters and Science. This is about 3/4 of the undergraduate population, and this is because it has a wide range of 5 divisions with 80+ majors that a lot of people find their interest in this college. You can see on the bottom right, Dwennell Hall, which is one of the big buildings on campus. A lot of letters and science classes are held there. A lot of people have classes there at one point or another. And within the letters and science, there's arts and humanities, biological sciences, mathematical and physical sciences, social sciences, and just undergraduate studies. So really ranging from languages to English to, I know I'm doing psychology, legal studies. So really a lot of things can be found in this college. And like Kalysta said, it's really amazing because you come in kind of undeclared and you have this time to figure out what your interest is going to be. So this is an amazing opportunity. You can see on the top right, there's theater and performance studies, You can see the COVID-19 research that falls under this college. So a lot of things are being offered in the letters and sciences. I definitely recommend checking out a list of majors for anything you're interested in.
Yeah, so next let's get into the Rouser College of Natural Resources. This college has a majorly environmental focus, including majors that fall under biological sciences, nutrition and toxicology, ecosystem management, interdisciplinary studies, social sciences, and economics and policy. And this college really focuses on sustainability and social justice, which I feel like really represents a lot of what Berkeley is all about. And the motto for this college is see the bigger picture, make a better world. So if you're interested in anything environmentally focused, including not just sciences, but also economics. I know my roommate last year was an environmental economic and policy major. So there's tons of different majors within here that have an environmental focus that a lot of people really enjoy.
Okay, and then moving into the College of Environmental Design, this is actually the smallest college on campus with around 650 students in it. And this small college feel really helps with our architecture students to have a really great workspace for them and collaborative environment. Under this college, there are 4 majors: architecture, landscape architecture, urban studies, which is like urban planning and stuff, and sustainable environmental design. So in general, this college is really amazing just because it has that smaller college feel. In that building, you can see Worcester Hall, that little studio project there, but also to the right, you see the students waving out of Worcester Hall. And that is an amazing building that is also designed so that each architecture student has their own study space. So you see on the top right, this studio space that every single architecture student has to their own, because obviously these planning materials take up a bit of space and your college dorm might not fit it all. So that is accessible to every single student in the College of Environmental Design. This is ranked 4th globally, and it actually has its own set of campus ambassadors that give a tour of Worcester Hall and really focus on including low income and maybe disproportionately affected students. And their motto is craft ecologically sustainable and resilient, prosperous and fair, healthy and beautifully built environments, which I really love. I'm also part of the College of Natural Resources, but everything through the lens of environmental sustainability, you can really see here at UC Berkeley, whether you're in the College of Environmental Design or anywhere else. Again, that kind of culture of change making and of positive change making.
So next we have the College of Chemistry, which is a pretty small college as well, with only 1,000 students and 3 majors, including chemistry, chemical engineering, and chemical biology. Our College of Chemistry is really at the forefront of innovation and research. We have actually discovered 16 elements here at UC Berkeley, which is incredible. No other university will even come close to that in our lifetimes, I don't think. And since we've discovered so many, we actually have some named after our school, including Berkelium and Californium, which is really awesome. Like, if you're a little bit nerdy and you like that, I think that's the coolest thing ever. And I know a lot of us are super proud of that. As well as the 16 elements discovered, there's also the Lewis dot structure was discovered here at UC Berkeley by Professor Lewis. And I find this really cool because I remember learning about the Lewis dot structure in my chemistry class in high school, and it was actually discovered right here within a chemistry class at UC Berkeley. So that's really amazing that we've really been at the forefront of a lot of different things involving research in chemistry. And chemistry, our College of Chemistry is actually ranked #1 globally, which is really amazing. Next, we have the College of Engineering. All majors in this college are also ranked pretty high globally, within the top 9. There's 3,800 students about in the College of Engineering and 11 majors. You need to apply directly, or you don't need to, but it's very strongly recommended that you apply directly into the College of Engineering rather than trying to transfer in, and you usually will apply directly into your major as well, although you can choose engineering undeclared. There's also humanities and social sciences breadth classes that are required for all engineering students to have a more well-rounded general education, as well as, of course, engineering technical courses. We also offer a separate engineering virtual visit. So if you are really interested in engineering, I would totally recommend taking that engineering virtual visit and learning a little bit deeper about the College of Engineering. The motto of this college is to transform the lives of our students by preparing them to become successful leaders and innovators for positive change.
Okay, so moving on to our graduate schools, in terms of what you can get involved in through graduate schools as an undergraduate, there is the Haas School of Business, which you can see to the left, the steps up to that area. We have different programs in that. The Business Administration program is a very popular one that people have to apply into starting the second semester of their sophomore year, and then they will hear back and then be able to get a business administration degree from the Haas School of Business, which is ranked top globally, and it is an amazing opportunity for people to get involved in. But in addition to that, there is the Global Management Program that you might have heard about, where a lot of students will apply, and then the people selected will have their first semester of their time at UC Berkeley abroad in London, learning global management abroad, and then come back and be part of the Haas School of Business and get that degree, which is a really, really cool opportunity. And that is a direct way into the Haas School of Business directly as you apply as a freshman. In addition, there is the Biology and Business program, which I was actually interested in myself coming into UC Berkeley, which combines a degree in molecular and cell biology in the College of Letters and Science with that business degree from the Haas School of Business. This is a different program that requires you to apply again at around your sophomore year to the Haas School of Business, as well as that program individually. A little bit different is the MET program that we mentioned before that combines that degree in the College of Engineering with a degree in the Haas School of Business. And this is one of those things that you apply into as a freshman. It has its own application process, and then you will go from there as a student in both colleges. But in addition to the Haas School of Business, we have the College of Education, School of Information, Berkeley Law School, which you can see to your right. It's amazing because all of these colleges can be accessed as an undergraduate student, whether that be with graduate students as your instructors, or for me, I know I went to a couple law lectures that you're able to just find on Facebook and reply to go to. And that was amazing because I was hearing people speak that I had read their books from. So that was like a really cool opportunity and a really great way to access graduate schools when you're going to such a large university. In addition, we have the School of Social Welfare, of Optometry, which has clinics that you can get an eye check in. So again, another way to access that. And then our School of Journalism, of Public Health and Public Policy. So again, as I mentioned, there are some undergraduate departments that offer graduate programs, and there is like a good tie of graduate programs into your undergraduate career, which I thought was really cool, coming to such an amazing school with all these prestigious programs and graduate students who are very eager to help you. And then in terms of structure and class sizes, I know this is a popular one. Another great thing about this big college is big classes, but don't worry because there are certain things to help alleviate the stress of maybe a bigger class size. So every class that is, every class is set up with a lecture and discussion section. So this means that you're going to lecture taught by your professor, and then you have a discussion at least once a week with a graduate student instructor in the field of study. So I had really large chemistry lectures. I'm a pre-med major or on the pre-med path, and I had a lot of general chemistry classes that were very large, and it was sometimes daunting to go up to the professor, but this is a great way to have a smaller space to get help, and they go over, there's no really new material taught, but they will go over what was taught in lecture and kind of help you through that process. In addition to these discussion sections, every professor and graduate student instructor is required to have office hours, at least like an hour a week for their students to access and come in. And I know this is definitely being still implemented in a virtual setting. And for me, at least with like chemistry, there are so many graduate and student instructors in so many different discussion sections. So there was kind of a list from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. of all these different people you can go to get help from. You could kind of just hop on the Zoom and maybe be there all day if you really needed that. But that's the amazing thing about such a large community here, is everyone wants to help, and there are a lot of people to do so. But don't be too scared about that larger class size, because as you go through your time at UC Berkeley, you're going to get into upper division classes that are more specified to your interest and that are smaller. So overall, we do have an 18-to-1 student-faculty ratio, with 85% of our classes having 50 students or fewer, which means that when you're going up in those classes, they definitely do reduce in size, which is the perfect timing, because that's when you're most interested in the subject matter and can get that relationship with your professor and other students. And in addition, we have hands-on labs and studios. So like for me in my chemistry lab, there was definitely a smaller amount of students, around 30 to 40 students per one graduate student instructor, as well as undergraduate student instructors that help, that might have mastered that subject and help in that way as well. But don't worry, we also have resources on campus that definitely help if that's not enough and if office hours are a bit daunting. So we have the Student Learning Center that has a lot of tutors that have been through the classes that you're going through. These are usually upperclassmen students who know the professors, know the classes, and can help in any subject you're struggling in, as well as individual advising. I know there's advising through residential halls that the advisors come directly to you, and you just kind of go downstairs from your dorm and there you go, which I accessed quite a bit last year. But we really want to make that transition from high school to college as easy as possible, and everyone is here to help. As you can see from the right, the office hours discussion section is a time to collaborate and have that one-on-one experience.
So a bit about the fall 2020 semester, because it is very different this semester than in the past. We're starting the semester and ending the semester with remote learning, with hopes to have some sort of hybrid format within the middle of that, in line with CDC guidelines, if it is safe. Some things to heighten the academic experience, even though it's online, is that we are all given Zoom Pro for free as students, which is very helpful and allows Zoom to work super smoothly for us for the most part, which is really great. There's also synchronous and asynchronous learning, meaning that some classes you can choose to be live and go to a live lecture at their designated time, but you can also choose classes that just upload the lectures and all of the work for the week, and then you do it all on your own time, which is super helpful for students, especially in different time zones. Some resources that we're given is virtual drop-in tutoring through the Student Learning Center and through different resources as well. Tutoring is always available to all students, which is really, really great. And we're trying to be really resilient through this instructional period of being all remote. There's the Semester in the Cloud program that allows students to choose all of their classes to be remote and to have a completely remote semester with both synchronous and asynchronous learning, like I said before. So Berkeley's really trying to make it as smooth as possible in these unprecedented times in remote learning, which we've never done before, of course. So these are some of the resources that we're given.
Okay, so moving on to a bit about housing and dining. There's a poll popping up right now. I'm asking where you're joining us from, so that would be great if you could answer that. Just to get a little bit of an idea of where you're joining us from before we talk about where you might be living here on campus. And it looks like we have a lot in the Eastern time zone, so maybe you're a little further into your day, but it's great to have you. So to talk a little bit about first-year housing options, we have units 1, 2, and 3, which I think there is unit 2 shown in the top left, that's the interior, as well as unit 3 on the right, which is more of an exterior view, but you can see that these buildings are high-rise buildings that are more traditional dorm style, living. So you have your floors with different like doubles and triples that share a communal bathroom. I know certain floors do have gender specific specific gender identifying people, so you can definitely access that if you're interested. But these are, I guess, the typical dorm experience you would think of with that roommate and the shared bathroom experience. There are like mini suites on all these units, so that would mean that you have different roommates and then you share one bathroom. So maybe there's like 2 rooms with 2 different roommates and you share one bathroom, a little smaller, a little more space for you and your roommates to share. But then moving on, we also have Clark Kerr, which is our farthest residential hall from campus. It's around a 10 to 15 minute walk. But to make up for the walk, there is an amazing nature aspect of this residential hall. A lot of people like it because it feels like a smaller community in a larger school. It's looking right up to the fire trails, which we'll talk a bit more about later, but that's amazing hiking trails. It has its own gym area as well as its own track and just an amazing like outdoor area with different picnic spots and stuff. So that is kind of Clark Kerr. Again, that's typical dorm style with doubles, triples, I think even quads, and that shared bathroom, as well as suites in another area. Blackwell Hall is where I lived last year. This has all doubles, and it is all that typical dorm style living with that shared bathroom on a hall or on a floor. And it's really nice. It was actually completed in 2018. So it has the nickname Hotel Blackwell because a lot of people enjoy the amenities as a newer dining or housing option, but all these other housing options have been newly renovated. In addition, there's Stern Hall, which is an all-women identifying hall on the other side of campus, close to like the chemistry area or our California Memorial Stadium. And then Foothill, which is right across from Stern, that is all suite style living. And a lot of engineering and chemistry students really like to access Foothill as a residential hall option just because of its proximity to the engineering buildings. And then just a little bit about the typical housing details. So freshmen do get priority, but we don't technically like to say that housing is guaranteed, although freshmen get priority, and it is very likely that you will get housing as long as you choose any room, any location as your last preference. So this means that when you go into your housing contract, you're going to have 5 different options and you'll put in what you want. So whether that be a Blackwell double or a triple in unit 3, and then that 5th option needs to be any room, any location, so that the algorithm knows that you want housing. And then in addition, just the resources for housing. Every hall or floor has a residential assistant or RA, which you might have heard in the past about just the college experience. These are upper division or upperclassmen that have obviously lived in a residential hall in the past and kind of foster a sense of community in your residential hall or floor. They plan different events, they decorate the hall, and they can act as like a mentor to you if you need any advice going through your first year here at UC Berkeley. In addition, we have theme programs in different housing locations. So that means that if you want to live with people that have similar interests or similar identification to you, whether that be the Casa Magdalena or on Clark Kerr, there's an environmentally friendly theme program. So these are opportunities for you to kind of live with people that are like-minded, and it's really cool to have that community as well as the greater campus community. In terms of security, we'll go into a little bit more later, but this is a 3-point security system. So we definitely have very secure residential halls. You have your key card to get in, as well as your key to go up, and people watching the front desk or the front area when I think from dusk till dawn. And then in terms of common areas, that was a really amazing resource to access for me. There was study spaces as well as social lounges. So that has like pool tables and different things to kind of take away from all the studying, to get to know people. And that was a really amazing resource for me. In terms of meal plans, all meal plans are included with your residential hall living for first year. So that means that you will have meal swipes, which get you into all the dining halls, and as well as flex dollars that can be used at any cafe or certain designated areas around campus. And then in terms of fall 2020 adjustments, just housing during the COVID-19 pandemic era, priority is based on self-selected need, and this is all single occupancy housing. So those doubles and triples have all been converted into singles, which I've talked to some of the freshmen myself. I think they're finding quite nice in maybe some of these smaller typical college dorm experiences. They are living lavish. But in terms of face coverings, pre-testing, sequestration, we're taking that all very seriously here on campus. So this means that when you move in, there is a sequestering period that comes into effect where you will be delivered all of your dining, and you just need to be in that isolation to ensure the safety of our campus. And as soon as you move in, there's that testing through the Tang Center, and you will have continual testing. I think it's bi-weekly testing for as long as you're on campus. And again, with that to-go meals, the dining is looking a bit different, but still many resources for you to access. Again, we have our RA, special pods and chats for people to get to know each other, and that isolation housing. And then in terms of transfer and continuing student housing, here you can see on the top left, iHouse, or international housing, which is known for housing a lot of our international students, as well as different affiliated properties. So when you're a continuing student or a transfer student looking for housing, you might not want that typical college dorm experience that you think of as a freshman. And so we have a lot of apartments that are affiliated through our campus that can go through the same housing portal. And you can see a little bit into that on the top, or actually all of the three pictures are our campus affiliated properties that you can definitely look into as a continuing student. And then in addition, there is a huge Facebook group chat and just a community for you to find off-campus apartments, which I know is a very popular thing and is very accessible, especially right now. There is also cooperative living, which is kind of unique to Berkeley, which is all about kind of working together. So it is a house filled with around 30 to 40 individuals that work together doing chores, and it is a much it is a very reduced cost of living just because you're working together, people are cooking and cleaning, and it's a very cooperative living style. And then in terms of Greek housing, that's actually where I am right now, and I'm living in my sorority house. So that is an option if you're a part of Greek life. And then in all of these housing options, you can purchase an additional meal plan. So if cooking is not for you, or that is just an added stress, you can have a meal plan and go to those dining halls that you accessed freshman year. So that is available to you.
Thank you, Abby, for all of that information about housing. I know it's something a lot of people have a lot of questions about, but getting into health and safety, we have University Health Services, which provide many resources at the Tang Center, which is our official health services building. Some resources include urgent care, primary care, and physical therapy. All students are required to have health insurance. So there is a student health insurance plan offered through UC Berkeley, but you can opt out of that if you wish to continue on with your parents' insurance or any other insurance you may have access to. Something that is being stressed a lot at our Tang Center and University Health Services is COVID testing and tracing. They really are hoping that every student who comes back to campus, whether they're living on campus or not, utilizes these resources to get frequently tested, and are providing many frequently asked questions, webinars, and tips on how to deal with the pandemic and stay healthy. There's also psychological counseling, which is really incredible because all students, no matter which health insurance plan, get, I believe, 5 free counseling sessions, which is super nice. I know that a lot of students can get stressed, so this is something that's readily available to us. There's the Optometry Eye Center, which is run by the Graduate School of Optometry. There's the Path to Care Center, which is helpful for, which is meant to help students who have been survivors of sexual assault. There's also many stress relief programs and some fun ones, including De-Stress with Dogs, which is where students will bring their pets to campus and let people pet them as they walk by. Usually these are the pets that people have, service pets, so they're super sweet, and it's really nice to be able to go and pet some dogs just on your way to class, as well as Llama-palooza, which happens before finals and midterm season, which is really awesome because they bring llamas to campus for you to come and pet and take pictures with, which is a lot of people's like favorite event. I think that it's like such an fun way to get to just take a break from studying for finals and go and pet some llamas, which is super awesome. Going into some safety services, Berkeley is located in an urban area, so we need all of the safety services set in place for you that you would see in any average city. We have our own police department, the UCPD, that also works in conjunction with the Berkeley Police Department. There are blue light poles scattered throughout campus, which are there so that if there is any sort of emergency, a student can press the emergency button and a UCPD police officer will be with you in 2 minutes. There's Warn Me, which sends texts or emails, whatever you sign up for, to every student if there's any crime in the area or even anything such as like bad air quality or power outages. You'll get a little text from Warn Me, which is very helpful. And like Abby mentioned before, there is the residence hall 3-point security, which keeps all students living in residence halls very safe, as well as night services, which are super, super helpful. These are something that I definitely take advantage of. The night safety shuttle is my personal favorite. There's a shuttle that goes all around campus and in the city of Berkeley that shows up every 15 minutes to any location that you can be picked up from. And it's super nice if you're studying late in the library and need to get back to your dorm, or if you're studying at maybe a friend's dorm. I definitely used it whenever I was studying with my friends who lived in a different dorm than me. I would take the night safety shuttle home, which was super, super helpful, as well as Bear Walk, which our students are employed as Bear walkers they're trained by the UCPD, and they will send someone to walk you home from anywhere on campus at nighttime, which is really helpful as well.
Okay, and in terms of student development on campus, we really emphasize identity and community. We want to be there for you and have resources to help you in your transition to college. So we have Centers for Educational Justice and Community Engagement. Our student government on campus is called the Associated Students of the University of California, or ASUC, which you'll commonly hear it referred to, as well as the Transfer Student Center, which can be found in the Cesar E. Chavez Student Center on the top right, as well as a resource for undocumented students and support and equity. We have our Disabled Students Program, which I know I personally have done a bit of note-taking for if people need accommodations and need notes taken. Other students are there to upload their notes, so we're all just kind of helping each other out. And also our Basic Needs Center, which is a great resource, as well as many more that can be found in that center, as well as Martin Luther King Student Union. And these are all available for all students to come. People are really willing to help, and you find your community and people who are wanting to support you in your academic pursuits.
So some about student life. We definitely have a lot of ways that students can get involved in the Berkeley community outside of academics, including over 1,000 registered student organizations and clubs. So there's definitely something tailored to everyone's interest. And if there's not, you can always create your own club, which is also really awesome. A lot of these clubs center on volunteering and giving back to the community. There's also ways to get employed on campus through the Career Center. This is actually a job right now, me and Abby giving this presentation and our tour guides, which is the best campus job in my opinion. There's also several internship opportunities right in Berkeley and Oakland, but also in the greater Bay Area, like San Francisco and Silicon Valley. There's tons of ways that students can get internship opportunities through the area that we're living in. Study abroad is very popular among a lot of students. There's a huge study abroad program here at Berkeley, and you can go to so many different countries, and it's really nice to be able to find a program where you can either work on your major or maybe satisfy your language requirement or just learn something you never would learn otherwise. There's also a ton of ways that you can explore the Bay Area. The Bay Area is gorgeous. We're very lucky to be here. There's San Francisco if you want a city, but there's also tons of nature, which is really awesome as well.
So just a bit more about building community on our amazing campus. In this remote time, we have a lot of social media networks available to all students, whether that be Facebook groups, but also just club outreach. So student groups and clubs are still doing outreach and still wanting new participants. Right now, there's actually Kalysta happening in a virtual setting. So this is typically kind of our big student fair for all clubs and organizations to kind of publicize on campus, but now they're doing that in a virtual world. So you can sign up and learn about the clubs now with info sessions and everything. So nothing has really stopped. It's just kind of transitioned to a virtual world. We have social hours and just online adaptations for really everything. Here to the top right, you can see our Zoom socials and just in general, the campus ambassadors meeting together and still being able to see each other. And that is kind of the general theme of a lot of clubs on campus. I know I've heard from campus ambassadors that they're still able to have business as usual and see the same people that they used to from the safety of their own home. But also we have department webinars occurring, so professional and personal development opportunities. I know I've looked through our career center. There is a career fair occurring very soon for all different interests. And so everything, whether that be career-oriented, clubs, or just social, is here for you in a virtual world. Our campus ambassadors ourselves have the Bear Talk blog. So Kalysta and I actually write for the Bear Talk blog, which is super fun to just kind of share our own experiences, whether that be about this virtual world or really anything. So I definitely recommend checking that out. And then Golden Bear Orientation, or GBO Week, that happens every year, still happened online. And I've talked to a lot of freshmen who really enjoyed it, met tons of people, exchanged numbers, and that's where you can meet your friends for the next 4 years. And it sounds like everything is continuing as normal as possible. So that is amazing. We have advising, preparation, and networking for that time, whether that be through your orientation leader or the other people in your orientation group.
So a bit about athletics on campus. We have different levels of competition that students can get involved in, including our Division I athletic teams, which is the highest level of competition, of course. But if that maybe is not your speed, there's also club teams, which are also competitive and compete against different schools. They just aren't our Division I teams. And then if you want a lower level of commitment, but definitely want to play sports, intramural is a great way to get involved in that. You just form a team for any sport that you want with your friends, and then you can compete against other people who did the same thing. Our California Memorial Stadium is where our football team plays. It includes the Simpson High Performance Center and the Athletic Study Center. So there's a gym as well as a study spaces within the stadium, which is great. There's also the Haas Pavilion, which is where our basketball team plays, the recreational sports facility, which is open to all students, the biggest gym open to all students on campus. They offer a lot of different little classes and stuff, even online. But I know that back when it was in person, I would go to some little fun dance classes, even though I'm not a dancer. My friend and I still thought it was super fun. So that's a great facility as well. And students from UC Berkeley have actually won 207 Olympic medals. So athletics is a big part of our community here and something that we are very proud of.
And a little bit about libraries and research on campus. UC Berkeley is home to 24 official libraries. So whether libraries are your thing for study spaces or just to access materials. We have 13 plus million volumes and just libraries all across campus. One of my favorite things when campus was opened was just to explore, open different doors, see where new libraries I could find that day. So that's really, really cool. But in addition to our physical libraries, we have extensive online resources. So we have different opportunities for you to access resources online, whether that be from textbooks to movies, all in our database and shared with the UC system. So that's a really amazing resource for you to find here in this virtual world. I know pretty much all of my textbooks for this semester I got online, which was really helpful just to have it online when I'm online, and everything is through my computer, everything's in one place. And you can see to the left, there is our East Asian library. In the middle is Doe Library, which is kind of the main university library, goes down several stories into the main stacks, which is one of the popular study spaces, quiet area, and you can find really any single book you'd ever imagine. I remember trying to find Crime and Punishment for like a joy read, and I had to get a map of the entire library to find that, which was really cool. And then in terms of research, that is actually a huge part of a lot of people's academic careers on campus. So we have the Undergraduate Research Apprentice Program that's available for all students to apply to. Different semesters have different rounds of application cycles, but this is available and a very, very easy resource for people to access, really easy portal to navigate, and you can apply up to 3 programs that different professors are conducting their research for. Or what is really common and actually a very successful thing is to go to the professors themselves through classes, or maybe you're just seeing their research and really interested. All the professors want your help and want to engage in the research with the undergraduate students. So this is a great way. I know a lot of people have been very successful in cold emailing and just that general environment of professors wanting you to help and wanting that undergraduate involvement is definitely a huge part of campus, and something that is really great. When research might seem difficult to navigate, it definitely is a huge part of our campus culture.
So some final campus highlights. We have a gorgeous campus that we of course want to show off a little bit. There's a bunch of nature on campus, which is really awesome to balance with the city aspect of Berkeley. Some of our campus landscape includes fire trails, Strawberry Creek, hills on campus, trees and wildlife, flora and fauna, and a really amazing urban and rural mix. Like I mentioned, up in the upper left, you could see a squirrel, which is almost like our unofficial mascot here at Berkeley. Squirrels are everywhere and they're not afraid of you. They definitely will walk right up to you, which is super funny. And you could see several other pictures of just our gorgeous campus and the landscape around the Bay Area.
All right, and with that, we are going to move into the Q&A part of our tour here. All right, so hello again. We got some great questions during the tour, and we are going to start off with a question for Abby. And this is, what was your freshman experience like? Callie asked, what is it like being a freshman here? I've always figured that your first year is very stressful. Can you comment on that?
Yeah, definitely. I am now a sophomore, so I guess I'm coming right out of my first year at Cal. And it definitely has a lot of ups and downs. I will be completely honest in that sense. But I think what you will realize after your time at Berkeley for a little bit is it's all really just finding your own balance. So obviously in that time when you're transitioning to a whole new world, I had never actually lived like anywhere else except at home. So that was really daunting for me, but coming here, I had a lot of resources. And I think the biggest thing that you'll hear from a lot of people is that there's so many things to do that's the most overwhelming thing. It's like, you can't do it all in the 4 years that you have. And so that was, I guess, the most stressful part of everything is like you want to pace everything and just kind of figure out your balance before you delve into everything that Berkeley has to offer. But I know that freshman year can be scary, but I think it also it's a very cool year where you grow a lot, you learn a lot, you can try different things. It's a time that you don't need to feel pressured to do everything for your career just yet. join the Chaos Club, which is the hiking club on campus, like do the things that you never did before. But things will work out, and just remember that like everyone's going through it together. I don't think really anyone comes in knowing exactly what's going on, what their path is going to be. But I think that was the most fun part of it, is you're meeting these people, and you're just kind of discovering yourself. So there's a lot of resources for that. As I said, there's like residential assistance, like in terms of the residential halls. So a lot of advising is tailored for your freshman year as well, just to help acclimate.
Wonderful, thank you so much. And then next, we got a great question. What does a typical day look like for the average student? And I assume that means when we are on campus, but it is up to you. Kalysta, can you take that one?
Yeah, of course. So, yeah, I'll talk about on campus because I'm still truthfully getting used to this whole remote learning things. I don't think that my days are not totally structured as they used to be. So back last year, my freshman year, a typical day for me would be so I lived in Clark-Hurst, so I was a little bit far, so I'd have to wake up a good amount of time before my first class, and I would usually walk to class, not take the bus, because I just really enjoyed the walk. It's really nice to be able to walk in like through campus too. So I would spend a lot of time on campus. After my classes, I would like to go to libraries or sit on the Memorial Glade and kind of get some work done between classes, or maybe eat lunch or a snack between classes. And then after my school day was done, I would go home, try to get any work done for the day, but I really like to balance my days between academics and some sort of social aspect. So I really like to set aside time to hang out with my friends, make sure I can always get dinner in the dining hall with my friends and never like stay in my room for dinner or anything, because I really wanted to have like this fun college experience where I'm surrounded by people all the time, and I totally got that. And so along with like eating dinner with friends, I would try to like just hang out with my friends in their dorms and stuff. If not every day, like most days, to be able to catch up and just have like that nice balance, because I know for me, if I was just studying all the time, I think I would go crazy. So I think it's really important to set time aside where you're not focusing on your academics, and set time aside where you definitely are focusing on it, but definitely keep those separate and do both.
That's really good advice. Thank you so much for sharing that. So our next and last question is a little bit about how you came to UC Berkeley. And I feel like you guys had a ton of different options and interests when you were applying to college. So can you talk a little bit about how you chose Berkeley, why Berkeley spoke to you, and how you chose what you specifically are interested in and passionate about for your major? If we want to go Abby and then Kalysta.
Yeah, I can start just a little bit about my Berkeley story, I guess. Funny enough, I never imagined myself at Berkeley. I grew up with my parents being like, I could never see you at Berkeley, which is really ironic. I guess where I ended up, and now I'm a campus ambassador and I love it. But I guess the journey of that was, I was never the most into like being politically vocal. Obviously, like I had opinions, but that's like a scary space to enter. And I heard all about these reputations of Berkeley. I come from like the suburbs of Southern California. This urban area was definitely new to me. So I definitely think like coming in, that didn't necessarily match who I was at the time. But after coming to Cal Day and seeing the campus, which I had never seen before and never really entertained before, but I was like, let's give it a chance. I think the college application process and the whole selection process can be really overwhelming. But I was wanting to like explore all my options, and I just kind of fell in love with everything. I had a checklist, and Berkeley like checked off all the boxes, which is very ironic with the way like I was thinking at the time. But my grandma had come to Berkeley. She was showing me around through Cal Day and everything, and I really did fall in love with campus. And I really like the saying that I've heard on one of the campus ambassador tours before, and I'll probably use it for my tours going forward, but it's like, through this application process, it's not exactly about who you are when you enter a school, but who you want to be when you leave it. And I think that goes into, I guess, my major a little bit. I definitely didn't even know what nutritional science was, or that I was offered at Berkeley. It wasn't until actually this summer that I got involved in different like diets or just kind of learning about nutrition. Then I took an intro to NutriSci class and I fell in love, and it was exactly what I wanted to do. And I think it really goes along with just my Berkeley story is I never knew about how great Berkeley was, about this nutritional science class. I took a wealth and poverty class that really opened my eyes to like political activism and everything. So I think I never would have been the person I am today if I hadn't gone to Berkeley. And that's why I'm so grateful for this school, and just I really have fallen in love. So I guess remember that as you go through this process is there might be reputations, but try to just remember who you are and who you want to be at the end of it.
That's awesome, Abby. I'll tell a little bit about my Berkeley story now. Kind of opposite of Abby, I always was really drawn to Berkeley, and it was definitely one of my top choices when I was applying. So I was just over the moon when I got in, and I actually got in off the wait list, which made me even more excited because it was like, it just felt like fate. Like I was like, okay, like this is the place that's for me. And a reason why I was so drawn to Berkeley is because I always have been really passionate about social justice and activism, which is something that I feel like all eyes are really on Berkeley when it comes to that. And so that's something that I really, really found inspiring about the campus, and learning more about its history and the free speech movement. It really just justifies all the reasons why I was so in love with this campus before I even got here. And now that I'm here, I know that it 100% is the place for me. I love it so much. I love the Bay Area. Coming from Southern California, I feel like I found like my place. And for my major, I am legal studies, which I came in thinking I was going to be political science, but I didn't know that legal studies existed as a major. And I've always been really interested in criminal justice and criminal psychology, even more than politics. And so once I found this major and I looked through the course selections and stuff, I was like, this is the most interesting, like totally tailored for me major. So I think that once you get to Berkeley, like you really find a lot of different avenues that you didn't know existed. Like same with what Abby said about nutritional science, and me with legal studies. I feel like that's a very common thing, is to come here and find something that you totally weren't expecting, but that you're totally in love with and excited about.
Amazing. Thank you guys so much for sharing both of your wonderful Berkeley stories. I know that every student has a different different unique Berkeley experience. So thank you so much for sharing that with us today. Thank you guys so much for coming on this virtual tour. It's so lovely having you, even if we can't be on campus. You can connect with us on social media at Visit UC Berkeley. If you have any questions we didn't answer today, you can email tour@berkeley.edu, and a student ambassador, me, will actually answer your questions. If you have interest in the day-to-day lives of our students, you can visit the Bear Talk blog. Like I mentioned earlier in the tour, you can take a look at other virtual visits at Visit UC Berkeley on YouTube. You can take a look at some of the activity on campus, COVID-related planning and resources, coronavirus.berkeley.edu, or how we're celebrating 150 years of women at 150w.berkeley.edu. If you'd like to attend an admissions presentation, please visit admissions.berkeley.edu/visit, and you can visit our website for other virtual visit options and other virtual engagements that we offer. Thank you guys so much for coming on our tour today, and I will wrap this tour up with a Go Bears on 3. You guys ready? 1, 2, 3. Go Bears!